Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Hey, Max.
Doing great, guys. How y'all this morning?
Good.
We're good.
Good.
Max, I was just talking to Dad about this. I hear all these people like Greg McElroy, who's forgotten more football than I know, but these guys are talking about Georgia has to stop the run against Alabama. You got to stop the run. I don't see it that way. I think you've got to get to this quarterback. Auburn stopped the run. Alabama had 26 attempts for 123 yards last week, but gave up 51 points because Tua just torched them. I think you've got to – and I know Georgia doesn't sack – or stats show they haven't sacked the quarterback much, but I think their game plan's got to be – to get to this quarterback and, not worry about the run as much and stop the pass and try to hit too. Am I wrong about that?
No, I don't think so. But I do think what Alabama's going to start off with is play action. They're going to make you. They're going to make you think you got to stop run, and they've already set the pattern for that. With the same running backs they've got, and now the emergence of Jacobs on top of that is playing. They move him everywhere, even back to the return guy. I think there's enough there for Georgia to worry about. To me, what they're more concerned about is the secondary. If they back off, and try to play a lot of rush three and try to drop 7 or 8 into coverage, Alabama will run the ball on them. So I think Alabama's really sitting in a good position. But, the other side, Georgia's not in bad shape either. They've run the ball against everybody they've lined up against. I think it's going to really shape up to be a good ball game, and Alabama's going to win it, but they can't give it away. They're going to have to play hard, and I think it'll be a full 4-quarter ball game.
Well, I feel like it's going to be as much containment for Georgia as anything else with the abilities of their backs to play good pass defense. And I also think that somewhere along the line, not much, but maybe occasionally they'll try to throw something at him, maybe a zone in the backfield. Just not they got to spend the night playing zone, but something a little bit different coverage. That's my opinion.
Yeah, Coach, they're going to have to do that because their secondary is not good enough to play man coverage, with Alabama's wide receivers. They know that too. But here's the say: if they do loosen up and make them throw underneath, do that. That's it. They are going to run the ball. They'll turn right around and, they got 4 backs that can carry it for anybody, play for anybody. And they're big, strong kids that can run. And I don't think Alabama will get too, I don't want to say overconfident, but I don't think they'll try to push to score 30 in the first half. I think they'll take what they can get. And I think in a game like this, that's the way you got to play it. When you get a team that, is close to your talent level, then, I really been back and forth with this, really trying to look at it, and I've gone back and looked at a couple games already, getting ready for this one. But I think Alabama's going to come out and play action right off the bat. I think they're going to throw it deep a couple of times up front out of a scripted play just to see what Georgia does. But I agree. I think they're going to mix the coverage up. Mel's good. I mean, most coverage played at that position, so they're going to try some things. I think early, but they can't gamble too much because Alabama's too talented. They'll catch you, in something different you're prepared to play, and Alabama's forced you in a heartbeat.
Max, is Georgia capable? Like if I was Georgia, I would say let's only let Alabama have the football 3 times in the first quarter. Let's grind it out. Let's move the chains. Let's make first downs. Let's run the football. Let's throw screens. Let's keep that offense off the field, sort of like the Citadel did. I don't think Alabama got on the field but twice in the first quarter against the Citadel. Is their running game good enough against this Alabama defense to hold the ball to keep Alabama's offense on the sideline for, let's say 3 times in the first quarter?
Yeah, that's what they're going to try. I mean, that is their going to be. I think they're going to go with what they do best. And they, good as Fromm is, and Fromm is, a really good quarterback. But I don't think they're going to think about throwing. And they'll work off that run game for play action as well. In my opinion, I think that's what they'll do. But I think they'll be careful where they throw the ball. Because Alabama's secondary has gotten much better, and the difference is in what Alabama does and what Georgia does on defense. They can get to the quarterback. And I'm not real sure they can't do it with 3 as opposed to 4. And to see, they can walk the linebackers up to still stop the run, and yet they got those athletic guys that can play pass coverage as well. Those are the things, and not in the third and fourth quarter, but the game's going to be already set by then. I'm going to be really anxious to see on the first and second possession on both sides of the ball how they handle it. I think both of them are going to test the opposing defense to see what they get away with.
Is there a place for the Fields kid, second string quarterback at Georgia, to play some early just to give him a different look?
I think if the first couple of series nothing does happen, Alabama forces them 3 and out, I think you go see Fields. I am almost sure they're going to try to come out with some kind of option play because they saw what Citadel did to do. Because look, Alabama made some critical coaching errors from that, and the kids didn't respond to it. And the outside guy took the quarterback as opposed to taking pitch man. And I know Alabama's corrected that, but I think Georgia's going to try it because Fields is a good athlete and he can run. They can take the pitch and let him keep it. I think there's a lot of little things like that Kirby and them will try. I think they're going to try to disrupt Alabama's traditional game planning. And Kirby knows as much about that as anybody. He's sitting in meetings for years over there with them, so he'll know what their philosophy is going to be. And whether they line up, they got the personnel just to line up and do it. I personally don't think so, but and I think the game's going to go into the fourth quarter, but I think Alabama ends up winning that ball game unless they lay it on the ground, turn it over, and just don't, doesn't have a good, mentally sharp ball game.
Go ahead,
Max. Could you see a situation where if Georgia's struggling, they pull an Alabama and put Fromm down and say, "Fields, you got the ball. Let's go win it." Would they try that? Have they seen enough out of that kid to do what Alabama did last year?
I don't know that they got that much confidence in a game like this since they lost. In the championship game last year, they know they got to win this to get there, and that's a good concept. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how big a gambler Kirby Smart is. That's the thing I don't know yet. He hasn't had to be up to now. His coaching ability really hadn't been challenged in a critical ball game. But remember, he took Alabama to overtime last year. In his second year there. So I think, and I will say this, I do not think the defense is as good as it was last year. You can't lose as many players as they did off the defense and expect to come back and play as well. However, this is the end of the season. It's not the beginning of the season. And those kids have grown up and they've played better. But and I think the running game is picked up. I'll be anxious to see if Georgia's offensive front can block Alabama's defensive front. I think that's going to be a real key. And that means for the run that they possess with Holyfield and Swift and or the passing of Fromm.
Is a lopsided victory by Ohio State, 65-14, and a close 41-40 win or loss by Oklahoma give Ohio State a chance to go to the Final Four?
I don't know whether they're going to take the full year into that, Coach, because, Ohio State, they had a couple of bad ball games. They beat Nebraska by 5.
They lost 1, yeah. No.
Yeah, so, I mean, they may go back and analyze every ball game to get that, to get that spot, that last spot. Now, that's assuming that if Georgia, let's go to the other way. If Georgia wins, I don't think it's going to be a change. I think Alabama and Georgia probably just swap places. I don't think Georgia goes to the top, but they just move up. I think Georgia moves to 3 and Notre Dame 2, and Clemson will be 1. Alabama will be 4 if they lose. I don't think they drop out. I think we're all assuming Alabama wins and Georgia drops out, then who actually moves into that next spot? I just got to believe Oklahoma. Now, that means that's predicated on Oklahoma beating Texas, and, of course, Ohio State beat Northwestern. So I think the committees, they'll pretty well have it ironed out. They probably already have the format. They just haven't announced that yet, depending on how that comes out on wins and losses.
If the SEC was smart, Max, they would just cancel this game, and Georgia and Alabama would go just like Notre Dame. We don't have to play. We're not in the conference. Let's just cancel the game. Yeah. And those two teams would go. They should make Notre Dame play somebody. That's just not fair. All right, Max, where are you sitting, Max, right now?
Am I sitting in my den?
All right, you got a trash can. Pull over there near you because I want to read this to you because I know you're going to get sick. You won't like this. But Jimmy Hyman's is reporting that Ole Miss former head football coach Hugh Freeze has a deal in place to be the next offensive coordinator at Tennessee. It will be reported this morning or this afternoon. What are your thoughts?
Well, listen, thank you. I am sitting next to a garbage can, by the way. Here's what I'm going to say to you, if in fact, and I've heard the same thing. The next person that's going to be in Knoxville, if Hugh Freeze takes a job, is NCAA. I can guarantee you. Guys, he's got to check and pass it. A lot of that stuff ain't even been brought out about it, about his character and his personnel, his personality. Here's the thing. It just people that keep saying, well, he's hired because he beat Alabama 2 years. You know how he beat Alabama 2 years? Because he bought 2 football teams. I mean, the guy's got to check it. Just remember, the stuff I say out of that program, I spent 3 years there. I guarantee you there's a whole lot I don't know about the Ole Miss program from the inside. And I promise you, guys, Hugh Freeze was a mouthpiece for a lot of stuff that goes on over there. And a lot of people that put him in place knew that before we got there. They thought they were smart enough they could get by. We ain't got time to go in all the details. But I don't understand why Jeremy Pruitt and Bill Ford was going after that situation where there are other guys out there that can make a difference in a program. The guy's got character flaws after Kazoo. And I just, I wish he'd never come back into college football, I'll be honest with you.
I guess there's 2 things. I guess I'd have to prove it through the conference office. But have you heard anything at all added to the Auburn situation?
No, really not, Coach. Other than, they renegotiated that buyout as far as Gus is concerned.
Did they do that for sure?
Coach, let me tell you what the word I got, and I went pretty close to that thing. Okay. I know you know some guys closer than I do, but the fact is the ones that I was talking to said the contract actually was never okayed by the group that has to pay there's a base salary that the university takes care of, and that the other big dollars come from other entities, let's say. I don't know what's a booster club or foundation or whatever. And the word I got is the reason it was so negotiable that they didn't ever sign off on that $49 million deal, in particular the buyout. And what they negotiated, and that's why Gus fought so hard and was willing to take less or no buyout to keep that $7 million contract in place. And I don't blame him for that, tell you the truth. But I have heard that Chip Lindsey basically has already resigned. That's not been made public yet, and he was in line for that thing at Tennessee, but he was the next choice behind Hugh Freeze.
Well, are you telling me that the contract was never originally signed for the $47 million?
No, on the buyout part. There was an addendum to the buyout part, and the buyout part was 35, and half of it had to be paid in 30 days, whatever. Yeah, that was the part they didn't sign off on.
Max, wow. Do you think that's a deal the conference office is going to have to approve with Hugh Freeze to Tennessee?
I think it's absolutely. He's been wanting to get back in the conference, And now the reason I've heard yesterday from some Tennessee folks is that, once the suspension was over, once the bowl, being at Ole Miss was over, and all those allegations had been moved to being satisfied by NCAA. Here's another thing that really happened, and I don't know how it happened. That he was cleared pretty quick from individually being responsible for all the corruption that went on as far as recruiting was concerned. I didn't read all that. I don't know all that. I know it was a big legal hassle, and there's lawsuits flying in every direction over there. But if that is the case, then that's what the legal side. And I don't know when Jimmy Sexton's the one pushing that. I think he probably is to get, Hugh Freeze back into the league. But for whatever reason, I just think that the image factor. Here's the only thing that I question about Tennessee, guys, is when Greg Schiano was put up for the head coaching job basically before Pruitt got it, they almost had a riot on the campus.
Curry, stirring it though.
Remember the Curry guy, the athletic director, resigned over that, was forced out. And that's when Phil Fulmer took it over. And that's when he switched and went to Jeremy Pruitt. So I don't understand why the change all of a sudden, because I don't know. It's a lot of stuff maybe we don't know yet that's going on inside. But if that be the case, hey, Tennessee's got to live with it.
Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
I want to ask you one real quick question, Barry. Mississippi State going to be able to recruit to have a decent team? I mean, they're losing so many people defensively and all, and the quarterback and all. Can this guy come in there from where he was and make Mississippi State a decent team in the West?
Here's what they're banking on, Coach, right now. They're banking. They lose 20 seniors off that football team, including Nick Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
They're counting on that they played, a lot of players on the defensive side, the offensive side. I can't see how they could be as good as they were this year. It really, they should have been better. They should have had 10 wins. He lost a couple of ball games early trying to force his system and basically trying to get Fitzgerald to do some things that really he wasn't capable of doing. He got better as the season went, but he lost a couple of games early that he never should have lost. Now, whether they can come back to 8 or 9 wins for next year, I personally don't think so. But the inside folks at Mississippi State think that right now they got a quarterback lined up coming out of North Carolina that Moorhead was recruiting when he was at Penn State. They got one, I believe, out of Texas. Both 6'5" kids that can do what they want him to do. But it's still, that's a great question, and I think that is the question that has to be asked going forward for next year.
Max, did you watch the Alabama-Auburn game?
Yes, I did.
Did you think that Auburn stopped the run on Alabama?
Well, 125 yards, or something like that.
They got 4.7, but they only rushed it 26 times, so they couldn't run the ball on them.
No, but I think that was the game plan for Auburn to try to do that, and hoping they get. But I don't understand quite their philosophy in that, because Alabama's made a living throwing the ball deep on everybody this year. But it's just like we said earlier on, Barry, if they back off and try to play defense and stop the long pass, then they are going to turn and run on. That's what makes Alabama dangerous. They can do both. They got 4 running backs that can play with anybody in the country. And they got a quarterback that nobody can match when it comes to throwing the ball. So as I look at it right now and take the Auburn situation, what I think what Kirby will try to do, he'll try to mix up the defensive coverage. But when he starts cheating up folks, just remember, here's the key stat. Their defensive front is the last in the league in getting pressure on the quarterback. So to change that, and Alabama's offense is good enough in the offensive front, to change that, he's going to bring more people. When he does that, that opens up the pass lanes for Alabama to throw the ball, even on the short passes, the quick slants, the hitch, the flares out of the backfield, all the things that will take advantage of what Georgia will try to do. I said to you before, the game's going to be won on the sideline, in my opinion, because Alabama's staff is more mature, been there before. They've done the things that it takes to win championships. Kirby's had 1 year experience at that.
What's for supper, Max?
Oh, man, goodness. I did this past weekend. I did pork chops. I did the big butterfly pork chops, and I do just like you did the turkey. I marinate those in Italian dressing. I like the oil. I've told you that before. I sear them. I cook them on a hot grill. I sear them and then turn it down a little bit. You don't want to serve any pink pork. People I got, they'll eat pink red steaks, but they won't eat pink pork chicken. But I do the big butterfly pork chops. And I put that, when I take them off the grill, I put that on a bed. I do mushroom gravy on mashed potatoes, and I put a pork chop right on top. That mix there, and of course, I do a little bit more. I put just a tad of mustard on top because I like that tangy taste of a pork chop with the mashed potatoes and gravy. I got a couple of salads. I do a cabbage slaw and a house salad to go with that. Garlic bread always got to go. Big old pitcher of sweet iced tea. And I did a congealed salad, dessert this time. I did a lot of fruit with a congealed salad right out of the refrigerator. And I have a tangy mayonnaise that I mix up. It's almost like a Thousand Island dressing. Over here it's called comeback sauce. But it gives you a little tang on that sweet Jello fruit salad. And guys, the guys over here will eat that stuff, and they'll all want to go outside and take a nap. Is when they get through.
Those pork chops are real thin, aren't they? I hope.
I can do, Coach. I've done the thin ones. You don't cook them much if they're thin. They're dry out.
Yeah, those thick pork chops get dry. Those thin ones are good.
But see, but let me tell you, the key to that, guys, is keep that heat a little low and baste it every time you turn it. Baste it with that marinade, because the oil in the Italian dressing with the spices will keep that pork chop moist on the inside.
Great deal, Max. We'll talk to you Monday about it.
As a cooker, I'm more of an eater.
I'm thinking.
Well, you know what? I found out through the years, Coach, I am too. Before I fooled around with cookbooks, for years, the reason I did, because my wife used to get on me all the time because she didn't ever think I could cook the same meal twice. I cooked to taste. I taste everything. I did that for years. Finally wrote all that stuff down so I could at least have some consistency when I got it served.
That's not good because you gain weight cooking, tasting. You can't do that. No.
I tell you, because everybody asked me, said, if you eat like that all the time, why don't you weigh 400 pounds?
Yeah.
When I tell them all, I don't eat that way every day, but I have eaten that way throughout my life. You got to remember.
The worst thing you can do is taste what you eat.
Do what else, Coach?
The worst thing you can do as a cook is taste what you eat because you get fat.
Oh, you will do that. I'm telling you, do that. But just remember, these meals that I fix, I just do those once a week. The difference is I do keep the leftovers, and I get the kind of the taste on those the rest of the week. So it's a good lifestyle for me.
Thanks, Max. We'll talk to you Monday.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good weekend.